the emergence of circular economy in the construction industry. So, what is circular economy?
Take, make, dispose. A linear economy isn't sustainable. It takes too much, it consumes too much, it wastes too much. A circular economy is very different. It means designing products that need fewer resources in the first place. What is used comes from sustainable sources. And it means making the most of them for as long as possible, then turning them into something else. For Unilever, managing plastic packaging is really important. All of ours will be reusable, recyclable, or compostable by 2025. Good for people, good for business, and good for our planet.
As for the objective, the first one is to define the relationship between circular economy and construction industry in Malaysia. The second one is to determine the benefits implementing the concept of circular economy in construction industry and in Malaysian construction industry. And the third one is to investigate ways to minimize the waste in construction in Malaysia. And the last one is to determine the best practice of circular economy that can be adopted in Malaysian construction industry.
Circular economy concept had been voiced by Dr. Wattenstall, which argued that extending the product life of goods was a common sense point towards the transition of a sustainable economy. Siemens Venture study from 2022 stated that 40% of waste generated by the construction industry is recycled, and most of it is not in use for the construction of new buildings. This indicates that the construction industry had been a significant potential for the circular economic model. Hi, my team consists of Ezra Jitab Anak Kincang, Muhammad Azrul bin Uzi, Sufia Adiba binti Muhammad Zain, and myself, Siti Nuraisha binti Alimat, and we are here is to explain about the circular economy in the construction industry in Malaysia. Circular economy itself was defined as the strategic concept of the encourage towards the reuse of the resources as to emphasize the waste reductions. This concept was leading toward to achieve the sustainable of the development. For example, when the waste is generated by the construction industry, it should become as the materials bank to the new buildings. This implement was to forward to the changes of the linear economy to the circular economy, because we believe that circular economy brings more benefits than the linear economy. But besides of that, there are some of barriers that need to be considered in implement the circular economy in the construction industry. For examples, like the regulatory barriers at existing of the building codes and the regulations, and also it's required higher initial investments.
With the rapid growth in popularity and increased demand for raw materials, there is an urgent need to prevent further damage to the planet and ultimately aim to restore our planet. Now, focusing on the current and urgent issue in Malaysia, Malaysia has emerged as the top destination for the recycling of global plastic trash after China prohibited import of plastic at the beginning of 2018. Even with the COVID-19 pandemic effect, Malaysia is one of the developing nations with the fastest growth rates. It takes better product and package designs, collection, sorting systems, and recycling infrastructure to move towards a circular economy by improving resource efficiency and lowering the use of virgin material. Based on the Malaysian Plastic Manufacturers Association annual report of 2020, Malaysia is one of the top producers of fossil fuel plastic product with a sales turnover of 48.46 billion ringgit and 13.3 billion ringgit export in 2020.
As for the relationship between circular economy and construction industry in Malaysia, there is four relationship. The first one is resource efficiency, and the second is waste reduction and recycling. Next, circular business models, and the last one is policy and regulatory framework. The first one is resource efficiency. So the circular economy encourages the efficient use of resources, including materials and energy, throughout the construction process. So this involves strategies such as designing for this disassembly using recycled or renewable materials and adopting modular construction techniques. The second one is waste reduction and recycling. Construction activities generate a substantial amount of waste, including construction debris, packaging materials, and demolished structures. Implementing circular economy principles can help reduce this waste by promoting recycling and reuse. In Malaysia, initiatives such as waste segregation, recycling facilities, and the use of recycled materials in construction projects are being encouraged to support a more circular approach. The third relationship is circular business models. The circular economy encourages the development of innovative business models that enable the reuse, refurbishment, and recycling of construction materials and components. For example, like companies can adopt practices such as deconstruction and salvage to recover valuable materials from the buildings and infrastructures. The last one is policy and regulatory framework. The Malaysian government has recognized the importance of the circular economy and its relevance to the construction industry. Policies and regulations have been introduced to support the adoption of circular practices in the construction, including guidelines for green building certifications, waste management regulations, and incentive for sustainable construction projects.
We know that circular economy was a concept of reuse, recycling, and also recovery of resources. This concept can bring a lot of benefits such as the reduced waste, the cost saving, improved sustainability, and also enhance the reputations. For example, in the construction industries, in the stage of construction demolition that produce the waste, which is can brings to it to the become the material barriers. As for the new project, the crushed concrete can become as the aggregate in the new concrete mixture for the new project. This will lead in the embracing of the sustainable development practice that can improve the company reputations.
The alternative to the linear economy is a circular economy.
Is this idea that everything that you produce goes back into the system, so there is no waste.
Look at waste as a design flaw.
It's about reimagining waste as a resource. Every resource gets a second life or gets as many multiple lives as possible.
Circular economy just means we have to be more like nature.
How can circular economy minimize the waste construction in Malaysia? Firstly, recycling. Malaysia needs to support the establishment of recycling initiatives that efficiently collect and sort waste from building and demolition sites. Waste will be removed, sorted, and reused in a closed-loop system as a result. Second, material reuse. Waste products from construction and demolition can be recycled to make new building materials. By implementing construction rules that require the use of recycled content, Malaysia could encourage the use of recycled and reclaimed materials. SNAT, Sustainable Construction. Malaysia should encourage the use of environmentally friendly building supplies such wood from forests that are properly managed, green roofs, and eco-friendly insulation. Lastly, encourage lean construction. Adopting lean construction technique will help us use resources more effectively, cut down on downtime, and cut waste through better project management and planning.
The best practice of circular economy that can be adopted in Malaysia construction industry. Number 1 is material reuse and recycling. This implements system to identify, salvage, and reuse material from demolitions or renovation project. This can include salvaging and repurposing materials such as bricks, timbers, and steel for future construction projects. Secondly, circular procurement. This is to encourage the procurement of materials and products with high recycled content or from sustainable resources. Implementing circular procurement practices promotes the demand for recycled and environmentally friendly materials, supporting the growth of a circular economy. Thirdly, life cycle assessment and planning. This is conducting comprehensive life cycle assessment of buildings and infrastructures to identify opportunities for improvement and optimize resources use. incorporate circular economy principle into project planning and decision-making processes from the early stages of design and development in Malaysia. Next is prefabrication and modular construction. This is to maximize the use of prefabricated and modular construction methods. This approach allows for easier disassembly, reconfiguration, and reuse of building components to reduce construction waste and enabling more efficient use of resources. The last one is resource optimizations. This is to optimize the use of resources during the construction process by adopting lean construction practices, which involves reducing material waste, improving logistics and supply chain management. It also minimizing energy consumption through efficient construction techniques. In conclusion, the emergence of circular economy principles in the construction industry marks a significant shift towards a more sustainable and resource-efficient approach. By adopting circular economy practices, the construction industry can minimize waste generation, conserve resources, and reduce environmental impacts. Designing for this construction, promoting material reuse and recycling, implementing prefabrication and modular construction, and optimizing resources use are key strategies for achieving a circular economy in constructions. Collaborative networks, education and awareness, supportive policies, and life cycle assessment further contribute to the successful implementation of circular economy principles. As the construction industry embraces circularity, it not only promotes environmental stewardship but also opens up a new economic opportunities and creates a more resilient and sustainable built environment. The adoption of circular economy in the construction industry is a crucial step toward achieving long-term sustainability and a greener future.